which is that Aisha
Sure.
said
I've got
that
something. Yeah, go on.
Muhammad was affected by magic so much that he used to think he had done
Mm.
something which he did not do. And he was so bothered by the fact that he was affected by magic that he begged Allah to cure him, to save him from magic, which makes me think he's the prophet of Allah, the perfect messenger who is perfect at all times and does the right thing. We are to trust what comes out of his mouth. But his dear child bride Aisha says that he was under the influence of magic and would do things that he didn't think he did, or would not do things that he thought he didn't. He did,
He
whatever.
did do what he
Yeah,
didn't think
yeah,
he did, and he didn't think he did what he did.
yeah. Now I
Whatever
see.
it
Now I see that. I look at that and I think, okay, how am I supposed to trust that anything that he said and did, any claims of the supernatural, were actually reliable accounts, when his child bride Aisha clearly says that he was possessed by magic
Let
and
me
he
stop you
begged
now.
Allah.
Let me stop you. Are you saying, now choose your words carefully, are you saying he didn't go to the moon flying on a donkey? I mean, because I'll just leave. I can't take this kind of like shock to my system.
I know it's very disappointing, but I don't think it happened.
That's it. I'm not even going to take the shahada now. It's just all gone to shizzle.
That happened in his dream. We call that dreaming. I don't know why.
Yeah, well, I call it dreaming. I mean, you call it dreaming, but he called it divine revelation, and everyone has to jolly well believe it.
Yeah.
And of course, if anyone doesn't know, the moon splitting, I mean, we often have eclipses and half moons and waning and waxing moons, even where I live. But yeah, the moon splitting, I don't know how to put this in a genteel fashion. I'm going to go with the truth. It was purloined, that's a nice way of saying stolen, from a poet who was trying to split the moon of his girlfriend. Just get a point like that and hope that there's an age restriction somewhere.
It is.
So,
it's absolutely disgusting that you would suggest that this is stolen from a love story. And
it's word for word. Bro, what do you want me to do? You could run it through the software that my uni uses to check for plagiarism, and it'll go, what, that one? What, this poem here, you mean? Like, it even like a...
Okay, I'm sorry. I just can't believe you. The truth is that the moon was actually split in two in Muhammad's time, but it happened so quickly that
there's
nobody
no
saw
account of it being put back together. So, I mean, I don't want to alarm anyone, but there was an eclipse yesterday. There was a definite circular thingy, as I like to call it, in what we called the sky. So it was a whole, like, yeah. Unless I'm looking at it side on, and that's the bit that's missing is the other, like, yeah.
Well, I didn't see it,
so
this just means that this is proof that
just because your eyes see it.
Yeah, I was asleep and I didn't see it. So in Muhammad's time, the moon was split in two, but people didn't see it, and maybe it came apart forever and it was replaced with a new one. We don't know. We do not know. You have to read it in a context.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say yes, we do. I'm going to say twaddle, just as a word interjected, like somebody with Tourette's. I'm just going to say that word, and I hope everybody.
I feel like I'm talking to an Islamophobe right now. So.
Do you? I'm not afraid at all. I just really don't appreciate. I mean, if you want to bring out your own new religion, not you personally. I mean, like Muhammad, then at least like have the decency to come with a backstory of your own. If you're going to pretend that your God is my God, and your God even said he is my God, but forgets his own name and forgets which bits of the book and forgets the prophets, and then just forgets all of it, forgets how he created the earth and the moon, how many days it took, what yellow shoes do for erections, like all of this stuff. That's my issue. It's not a phobia. It's a desire to see people have the truth. Like that's what the truth and what you don't consider to be true. But what I would point out is I don't think you want to kill me. I mean, I haven't finished talking yet, but I definitely don't feel like you should die on a whim, just for fun. So it's, like on Sesame Street, one of these kids is doing their own thing. Like I feel like Islam is that kid. Like how insecure do you have to be to kill people because they don't want to be in your club anymore? Like,
yeah, but you have to somehow make people be in your club. So what are you going to do?
No, get a different club. Go and join their club. Get a hobby. Play
No,
cards, maybe. I don't know.
no.
Yeah. Get fresh air. Don't read loads of hadith things. Question stuff, critical reasoning.
Yeah.
I don't know, twiddle your thumbs.
Yeah.
But don't like chop up children in Nigeria just because some book said something once and you're a bit mental.
That guy told me a lot of some very graphic things that he witnessed while doing journalism in Nigeria. It made me sick. But before going into that, I wanna quickly say, I think as part of a conversation about Muhammad's mental health, we should mention a few things. If you open the book Sahih Bukhari, you see at the beginning, how did Muhammad receive revelations? He's asked, and he says that sometimes it is revealed like the ringing of a bell. This form of inspiration is the hardest of all, so it's very burdensome on him. And then it passes off, and I grasp what is inspired. So, and in another case, he
So
says,
it leaves like the imprint, I guess.
yeah.
It's,
In another
that
case,
does
he
sound like
says,
some sort of neural. I'm just
Yeah.
going to turn my camera off for a second. I can still hear you though.
Okay, no problem. In another case, it says, sometimes the angel comes in the form of a man and talks to me, and I grasp whatever he says. Then it says, further as a note, Aisha says, I saw the Prophet being inspired divinely on a very cold day and noticed sweat dropping from his forehead as the inspiration was over. Now, the ringing of a bell together with a message being inspired in your head sounds like a neurological disorder with a mental illness. Hallucination is the other one. Heavy sweating on a cold day sounds like something you would experience with a seizure. It's quite common. And if you have a disorder that causes seizures, it is likely that it might impact your brain in such a way that you have a mental disorder and you start getting.
He's also recorded as like collapsing.
Yeah.
I don't know about under the weight of the revelation, but the times when he would be red in the cheeks and sweating but cold and on the floor.
Yeah, it says that his companion Omar, he would go around with him, and when there is an instance where Muhammad receives a revelation, and Omar then puts a cloth on Muhammad and covers him. And apparently this is a regular thing, like this happens very often.
Well, he asked to be shielded by Khadijah's skirts, didn't he, when he was first afraid?
Yeah.
Sorry, carry on.
And he asks somebody who is there, he says, do you want to see the Muhammad being divinely inspired? He says, yes. Then he looks under the cloth and Muhammad's face is red and he makes snoring noises like the sound of a camel, as the hadith says. Which, is that really, I mean, looking at it today, it just looks like this is something that you would nowadays, see as a disorder, and you would send this person to a doctor, and the doctor would probably say, okay, this guy needs help.
You, mate. Oh no, what would the doctor say? Oh, today you mean?
Yeah, the doctor would say, okay, Muhammad needs help. Muhammad, unfortunately, looks like has a problem, and he needs special care.
I've got another one for you. I was just skipping through some stuff I got here. Automissophobia, so an obsession with or a compulsion to remain clean, an obsessive fear of uncleanness, which to my mind, when you say that water can't be made impure even by dead dogs, when you are willing to drink urine from a camel, when you I'm not sure that it's, but the would do and the see, Christ said nothing you eat or nothing you consume can ritually defile you, because it will just pass out again, showing a knowledge of anatomy, by the way. But it's what comes out of you, it's what comes from your heart, or it's what comes out of your mouth that can make you unclean, e.g. blasphemy and I don't know, stuff. So he definitely didn't. It's a shame that Waraka passed away so quickly, because he may have developed a greater insight into the stuff he was claiming to be a follow on from. But yeah, he definitely had the thing of, I mean, but then he only had one shower when he did the all night, when he pulled the all nighter, as it were. So yeah, there's elements of it.
he probably didn't really understand hygiene the way you and I understand it today. So, and he was in a different time. He didn't know that dirt or brings diseases and all that. He just had specific problems with sorts of uncleanliness that he had specific obsessions with. Drinking camel urine, or drinking camel urine or milk directly from a camel, was probably not considered unhealthy and unclean to him. That was probably considered pure and normal to him. Whereas
really, I feel like he was making it up as he went along at that point. I mean, I don't know that that was a tradition anywhere. I know that there are times when you use all of the animal and that kind of thing, but I know, see, I read so much of this that I often don't know where I've read it from, but that he prayed in the direction of his she camel. So the Qibla clearly was pretty movable unless she was like plotted up regularly in the same place. Yeah, he also had a messiah complex. I feel like that's a given, for sure. And I don't know about split person, like a schizophrenic hallucination, but there is there's a case to be made for that, as well as the like sociopathic tendencies and compulsive lying, fabricate. Like, yeah, it's not
well,
looking good for
he
him.
had
He was
a
a real
he had fear about. Some people say I have an echo. It's not me. It's because of Kay. It's like the echo comes from her back to me. It's her problem. Don't blame me. The issue with the Messiah complex is he also had a fear of clouds, for example. Whenever he would see a cloud, Aisha says he would get extremely uncomfortable, and the fear, the anxiety could be seen on his face, and he would walk back and forth until it rains or whatever it is. And then he would say that when he sees a cloud, he's afraid that it might be a punishment from Allah. And then when he sees rain, he's then relieved. So he thinks, oh no, something is coming, something is happening, and I am here to save people. And
I wonder if he'd heard, because Waraka was a transcriber or translator and then transcriber of Christian texts, certainly the heretical text. But I wonder if it was potentially related to Jesus coming back on the clouds and, the association with cloud riding for Yahweh in the Old Testament, with the Baal stuff.
Might be. But it was also just associated with, the Quran mentions certain things such as that Allah sends you blessings or punishment, and Allah might send you winds or storms or clouds and destroy you with them, and things like these. And these might come from. I want to ask you a question, by the way. This is something that I often think about, and I'm curious about that. Now, Waraka was Khadija's cousin, and if you trust the reports, he's supposed to be a Christian convert who is reading and translating the text, and he influences Khadija and also Muhammad. And some people say that he might have been a Nestorian Christian, but Nestorianism is not very far off from mainstream Christian traditions and beliefs. I know what you're going to say, but it looks like, I feel like it could be that Waraka was something much more distant than just an historian. Could that be? What do you think?
I feel like, I don't know if you mean Nestorian or Nasari, because Nestorius was a heretic.
Yeah.
He was deemed a heretic. His idea was that
there are two persons in Christ.
No, it was the one as opposed to the two. So two wills is the doctrine that is accepted, that he had a human will and a divine will. They were never really in conflict, other than, he says, if there's any other way, like for the crucifixion, then take this cup from me, but your will be done. And when he says about the Father's will, he's talking about his divine will. But as far as I'm aware, Waraka was Khadija's uncle. I didn't know about the cousin part, but that's irrelevant. what I'd read when I briefly looked into him, that he was part of a heretic, even at the time, heretic Christian sect, or Christianish, as I like to think of it. So you've got nowadays, like the Jehovah's Witnesses, they stem from one of the Arian heresies. Arius was, he argued, their final word on the matter is that Jesus is a God, not the God. So technically they're polytheist, but there are no new heresies, it seems. It's always one or the other of the originals that have just been tweaked up through the centuries. So I've never heard from any reliable source that Waraka was a Christian. I heard that he was a transcriber of Christian texts, but that he was a heretical, because if you don't believe in, I know it's irrelevant to you, but one day we're going to get you. But it was, and that's better than when a Muslim says it, trust me. He was, if you don't have the right Jesus, you may claim to be a Christian. I mean, there are Mormons. I met a very lovely Mormon on Sunday, but and the JWs, if your Jesus is moonlighting as the angel Michael, the archangel Michael, he's not Jesus. If your Jesus isn't God, he's not Jesus. That's to Muslims as well. So you have to have the right Christ to be, like, Christ has to be God, otherwise his sacrifice on the cross doesn't atone for your sins, and therefore like believing and confessing him as God is what the Bible clearly says is the means of salvation. Like, it's not a big laundry list of stuff you've got to do. Doesn't mention giving up your PlayStation or never hooking up with a chick or anything. Like, it's literally two things: you're in, and then it's a slow transformation.
Here's the thing: I look at it as from the outside, as I don't even know how to look at it, but I look at it from the angle of a person is said to have converted to Christianity. That is in the hadith, by the way. Hadith in Sahih Bukhari say that he became a Christian or converted to Christianity, and that he was
from
reading.
What? Sorry, from what? From Qurayshi, or was Khadijah from the Qurayshi?
I think the idea is that those two were Hanifs, who are supposed to be the local monotheists, which I think is a bunch of nonsense. I don't think that's true at all. I believe that it's more reasonable that they were actual polytheists, and that he was also one of them, but he was influenced by Christians and started kind of believing in their stuff. But the idea that I get is he was probably not a good Christian because he probably didn't understand it at all.
You reckon? I mean, I feel like he had access to the stuff because of his profession, and that may well have influenced his own theology. So as he's reading this stuff, because certainly if it wasn't for him, I feel like if anyone's the founder of Islam, it's him, because he's the one who said, "What do you mean, demon? It's clearly Gabriel," or Jibril, as he pronounced it or meant it. Like,
that's the thing. Why would a Christian say that? It doesn't make sense. Or why would a Christian who's connected to the Christian tradition tell Muhammad, "Oh, this is an angel. You are a prophet"? That doesn't make sense.
He wouldn't if he'd got to the bit of the New Testament that said false prophets. Anyone brings a different Jesus. Anyone brings a different gospel. Anyone can't remember God's name and pretended to be God. Like, that's not in there. But the implication is there. So I feel like maybe he was, within a heretical sect. He definitely had access to the heretical gospel account, like the apocryphal New Testament stuff, as far as I'm aware. So it's very easy, I guess, when it's very hot out. You're not that well educated, but you can write, and there's not much on the TV, and the camels are all, I don't know, need feeding. That you can, even now, like, there are Muslim Dawa people I know that read the Bible, prolifically, but not proficiently. Like, they're very aware of what it says, but seem somehow to miss the mark, like, uniformly every single time. You're like, what? How can it mean? Like, so just having the info, he wasn't a Christian, because if he was a Christian, he would have said, "What?" like that in English, probably. Just he'd be like, "What? Go away, you donut," or something like that.
Yeah.
He definitely wouldn't have said, "No, it's definitely God," definitely, without even knowing. Gabriel in the Bible never strangles anyone. It's crazy the amount of times he doesn't strangle anyone.
That is the thing.
They give their names, angels. They say, don't be afraid. If you start trying to chuck yourself off mountains and feel really scared, that's probably not an angel.